So this is the all-new Suzuki GSX-S1000F. I say all new, and it's important that we talk about that for a little bit, because when I flew out to the Isle of Man for this launch, I was kind of expecting this part spinny Bandit 1250 GSX-R1000 bastard love childy thing. This is not that kind of bike. It's all new chassis, all new everything essentially. So we'll just quickly spin through the bike from front to back. Dunlop Sportmax tyres. I've just spent an amazing day up on the mountain, riding like an absolute goon, chasing milky quail, generally, you know, getting away with stuff that I shouldn't be getting away with. Tyres have been fantastic. It's probably the first time I've been on a road launch in years where the tyres at the end of the day looked a little bit like we've been ripping around on track. That's the beauty of coming to the Isle of Man, where there's no speed limits in the bits that matter. So moving back from the tyre, we've got the GSX-R1000 brakes, Kayaba forks. The difference between this and the naked version is there's slightly more oil in these forks than there is the naked one. So the internals are identical between the naked and the faired version of this bike, although the air gap is slightly smaller on this one, which means the springs and everything's running a little bit stiffer. The fairing itself adds apparently 20 kilos of downforce at 200 k's an hour. The naked bike, which we've seen today but I haven't had a chance to ride, apparently gets it's interesting, shall we say, when you're up over 140 miles an hour. This bike is absolutely flat as a rock, super stable. All that stuff you've seen of TT races smashing through Barragaro, we did all that stuff and it was absolutely fine. So moving back from the forks and to the motor, what we've got is a K5 to K8 GSX-R1000 engine. They've done a little bit of retuning. I'm not going to say that they've detuned it, they've retuned it. So they've reprofiled the cams. I think the pistons and bits and pieces are different. And what they're claiming on paper is 145 horsepower for this bike. But in the bar last night, we had a couple of beers with the development team, and one of the Japanese guys accidentally let slip that it makes closer to 163 horsepower, which is perfect. Weight-wise, what we're looking at here is 214 kilos ready to ride. This is the ABS version. In this faired variant in the UK, you're only going to be able to buy the ABS version. In the naked version, you've got the choice of having non-ABS and ABS. So as well as pinching those brakes from the current GSX-R1000, they've also taken the swing arm. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say it's a part spin thing. I think it's perfect that they've taken these two parts. They work perfectly with this bike and they work perfectly with the new one-piece cast aluminium chassis. So who's this bike pitched at? Well, as it stands, it's pitched directly at current GSX-R owners. We're into 30 years this year of GSX-R, which is fantastic. Unfortunately for Suzuki, it would seem that the current owner now is probably the guy that was buying GSX-Rs 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and even 20 years ago. The bike is getting lighter, sharper, much more dynamic, but he's getting older, crankier, stiffer, and getting on sports bikes is not as easy as it probably used to be. So what they don't want to do is lose that brand loyalty, so they sat down with hundreds and hundreds of GSX-R owners and asked them what they would want in the next bike that would appeal to them. And apparently this is it. Rather than having clip-ons, we've got these lovely Renthal fat bars. They're higher, wider, and slightly further away from the rider than a GSX-R clip-on would be. Same for the pegs. Rather than having your heels tucked up under your ass, these pegs are closer to the ground and they're further to the front of the bike, giving a much more relaxed and easy to live with riding position. So other feedback that Suzuki took from GSX-R owners is, although they're getting older and they want a bike that's a little bit more comfortable, they're not really looking for a sports touring bike. So there's no real kind of craziness going on with this subframe to suit pillions, to suit whacking loads of luggage on the back. If anything, it's the opposite. They've made it as easy as possible, I think, to turn this into a single seat bike. You could put a nice little single seat conversion on it, chuck these pegs in the bin, and you're away. Other nice new details on this bike are the one-touch Suzuki start mode, which you can see here. You do that, you just touch the button once and you're away. The days of yanking on the clutch, stabbing away and hanging onto it until it starts, it would seem a long gone for Suzuki. So finally, after a good few years of waiting and watching the competition kind of walk away with this kind of stuff, Suzuki have added traction control to this bike. So the traction control has 4 positions. Off, which means wheelies, all that kind of stuff. 1, 2 and 3. 3 being the one that you would use if it's raining. 2 and 1, I've used both today. They're very good at stopping you from doing wheelies. They're also very good at stopping the bike from getting away from you. It does exactly what traction control should do. It's about time that Suzuki put it on it, and more importantly for me, it feels like you could lift this system straight off this bike, plonk it on the current GSX-R1000, and you're off. You've got it, you're good to go. So how does it feel to ride? To be honest, it's a bit of a rod. We've just spent the whole day riding like absolute dicks up on the mountain, not breaking a single law. We didn't really do any wheelies or dick around like that, but did go pretty fast. The Suzuki bod said this bike's geared to do about 155 miles an hour, I think, and we were pretty much getting on for that in a good few places over the mountain. It's super stable. Those ABS brakes, they don't cut in too much. They work perfectly with the tyres. I didn't feel the need to adjust the suspension. The motor is super smooth, so much power from almost nothing. I stuck this bike in 6th gear at 25 miles an hour, just coming along the start-finish straight here earlier. There was no chugging, there was none of that kind of dug, 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 where you need to keep chugging down the box and find a gear that suits the speed you're going. Fast direction changes are really, really good. Those big, wide, fat bars give loads of leverage. It just tracks, absolutely tracks. 130, 140 mile an hour, overtakes, over the bumps, the real fast stuff up on the mountain mile. This bike just handled absolutely faultlessly all day. So the rain's coming down, that's my cue to stop waffling on at you. I can wrap this up by saying this bike costs 9,999 quid. You can read all about the accessories and all the extra bits and pieces that you can buy for this bike officially from Suzuki in the words within this web page where the road test is. This bike is absolutely brilliant. I came expecting, well, I don't know what I came expecting. I didn't come expecting to ride a bike like this. And if you're looking at it thinking, well, maybe it's like a Kawasaki Z1000SX rival, you're thinking along the wrong lines like I was as well. Get yourself a test ride on one of these, have a look, have a rattle around, see what you think. If you're a current GSX-R1000 owner and you've got creaky bones, this is the bike for you.